I never thought I'd walk away from my family until the night our dinner table turned into a stage for humiliation. A performance where I was the main act and the entire extended family sat in the audience laughing. It was supposed to be a simple birthday dinner for my mom, but with my family, nothing's ever simple. I'm Ethan, 27, the oldest son, the only one who didn't follow in my father Carl's footsteps to run the family's hardware business. Carl was proud of his calloused hands. He believed a real man had grease under his nails and resentment in his bones. While the whole family worked at his outdated store, I built something else, a digital marketing firm. 3 years in, business was solid. But to Carl, I was just a guy playing on a computer. I brought my girlfriend Harper to the dinner, her first time meeting the whole clan. From the second we walked in, the air froze. Carl gave me a nod, no words. During the meal, my sister Lena mentioned the store's revenue drop due to Home Depot. Carl's face turned red, then Aunt Sharon dropped the match. Maybe if Ethan had stepped up, we wouldn't be in this mess. And boom, Carl slammed his fork on the table. This one's the reason we're struggling. He ran off. While we're working our asses off, he's out there playing with his little laptop. I stayed calm. I offered to help. You didn't want it. He scoffed. Marketing? Real men don't hide behind screens. They work with their hands. The table went silent. Harper squeezed my hand under the table. I lowered my voice. Last year, my company hit 6 figures. I can help. That's when Carl exploded. He shot to his feet, face blazing. You're a disgrace to this family. And then they laughed. Not all of them, but enough. My uncles, cousins, people I grew up with. They laughed like my dreams were a joke. My mom looked down. Lena was quiet. No one stood up for me. I stood, pushed my chair back slowly, the screech loud in the silence. I'm done. Done with this dinner. Done being your punching bag. Done being insulted because I refused to drown with a dying store. Harper followed me out, eyes red with fury. Carl shouted after us, go ahead, but don't come crawling back when your little business fails. I didn't turn back, only heard my mom whisper, Ethan, please. In the car, Harper's voice trembled. How can they treat you like that? You make more than all of them combined. I started the car, calm. Funny thing is, Dad doesn't know this. His suppliers have been reaching out to me. Some want new partners. Harper turned to me, voice low. What are you going to do? I stared into the rearview mirror, watching that little house fade. Nothing yet. But when they come back begging, and they will, I'll remember every face that laughed tonight. 6 months passed. No calls answered. No texts returned. I cut everyone off except Lena. She still messaged me, sent random memes like nothing had happened. I knew she wasn't on anyone's side that night. She just didn't have the strength to speak in a family where voices were drowned by one man's pride. My business? Thriving. I doubled my staff, closed huge deals, and every time I got client praise, I'd remember Dad's words, marketing is for cowards. I never sent him updates. I didn't need to. He'd come to me. And then it started. A text from Mom. Ethan, your dad's been asking about you. He's changed. Please call. I felt nothing, not concern, not closure, just the ache of watching a captain try to pull a sinking ship down with him. Then a 2 a.m. text from Lena. He's losing contracts. He fired Pedro today. He's been drinking a lot. Mom's scared. I stared at my reflection in the window, phone glowing in my hand. I didn't pity him. I pitied the fact that he never knew how to keep anything he loved. Then Pedro messaged me, the most loyal delivery guy Carl ever had. Ethan, can we meet? My treat. He looked older, gaunt, exhausted. Your dad's lost it, yelling at staff, messing up orders. Suppliers won't talk to him. But the worst part? He doesn't know how to say sorry. Not to anyone, not even me. Pedro had once called Carl a brother. Now he sat across from me, admitting Carl wasn't worth following anymore. You saw this coming, didn't you? Pedro asked. That's why you left? I nodded. Outdated systems. No tech. Pride that refused to evolve. I knew if I stayed, I'd suffocate. So I left. He sighed. I'm quitting. If you need experience, I'm here. And just like that, I started making calls, rebuilding networks. The same suppliers Carl mistreated? Now they were calling me. All they wanted was someone who respected deadlines and honored deals. A month later, I landed 3 major contracts, all former clients of Carl's. Then came the moment. The building that housed Carl's store? The lease was up. The owner put it up for sale. I called, offered 15% above market. No negotiations. 2 weeks later, I had the keys. I stood by my office window, staring across the street. Carl was barking into his phone. Older, gray, bitter. Lena walked in, set a coffee down. You know he'll never say he was wrong, right? I nodded. I don't need him to. I just need him to understand. You reap what you sow. A new sign went up on the building. Now owned by Ethan Cole Enterprises. I didn't buy it for revenge, but when the opportunity came, I didn't turn it down. Not out of hate, but to witness from the front row the collapse of what once tried to crush me. Carl stormed into my office the day the sign went up. Didn't knock. He never knocked. What the hell are you playing at? He roared. You trying to destroy this family? I stayed seated, calm. Hi, Carl. We usually take appointments, but I'll make an exception today. His fist shook. You just called me Carl? Yes, I said firmly. You once told me that pride mattered more than family, so that's what I chose to remember. He slammed my desk. You're trying to tear down everything I built in 30 years. No, I said, flipping open a folder. You're doing that just fine on your own. Security came in. Sir, unless you have an appointment, we'll have to ask you to leave. And just like that, the rage in his eyes turned to desperation. He left, silent. For the first time in my life, his back looked small. Continued in next message. Continued. Word spread like wildfire. Carl's staff quit in droves. Their resumes hit my desk, some from people who once stood by and watched me get humiliated. Some apologized, most didn't. I didn't care. I asked only one question. Do you want to work somewhere no one gets judged for being different? They nodded. So did I. Lena quit too. She placed a cracked old watch, Dad's gift, on my desk. He smashed the sales board when he found out you landed the Anderson deal. You okay? I asked. She nodded. He's not a father anymore. He's just a shadow consuming itself. Then came 3 a.m. A knock at my door. Through the peephole. Carl, drunk, slumped. I didn't open. But I recorded everything. He yelled, cried. I was wrong. You're good. You're damn good. It wasn't power in his voice. It was the sound of something breaking open. Finally, I didn't open. I watched, just like he did when I walked out that night. And he let me go without a word. A week later, I walked into the diner where our family used to meet. I wore a gray suit, on time, papers in hand. Carl, my mom, Aunt Sharon, and Pedro were already seated. Carl looked like hell. Unshaven, shirt wrinkled, eyes hollow. He tried to speak. I raised a hand. Let's not pretend. This isn't a reunion. This is a meeting between a landlord and a tenant. I slid a folder across the table. New lease, triple the rent, effective next month. You have 48 hours to sign or I'll find a new tenant. Planet Fitness already called. Carl's face turned purple. This is extortion. No, I replied, this is business. The same business you told me to study instead of playing with computers. He shook. Sharon cried. Pedro stayed silent. Carl whispered, I'm sorry. I looked him dead in the eyes. Too late. I stood and walked away, leaving them as strangers. Mom called after me, Ethan, please. I didn't look back, because I wasn't their obedient son anymore. I was the man who built the impossible. And now that very thing was about to bury the version of me they once rejected. 48 hours passed in absolute silence. I didn't check messages, didn't care. Then, a courier showed up with a sealed envelope. The lease, signed, Carl's shaky handwriting smeared near the bottom. But it was his. I stood still for a moment, not out of pity, but because I realized he had finally bowed. He knew I wasn't just his son anymore. I was the landlord who could evict him anytime I wanted. An hour later, Lena walked in holding an old photo, me and Carl smiling at my high school graduation. You used to think he loved you, she said softly, and maybe he did. But his kind of love, controlling, conditional, it was never sustainable. I stared at the photo, then fed it into the shredder. I don't need love that comes with humiliation, I said, and I don't forgive people who never meant their apologies. Lena's eyes welled up. What are you going to do next? I pulled out another file, thicker, detailed. I'm buying out his entire inventory at 40% of its value. Legal, fair, cold, just like he taught me business should be. That evening, Carl texted a long message. Ethan, you won, I admit it, but don't take everything. Your mom's crying, Sharon's not eating. Take the building, the clients, but please don't take the last thing I have, hope. I read it, deleted it, not a word in reply. The next day I stepped into Carl's old store, now under my name. No greetings, no laughter, just the stench of failure. Carl sat in the back office, head down, eyes empty. I walked in, didn't sit, placed a sealed envelope on his desk. This is the inventory buyout agreement. I'll wire payment within 3 days. After that, this space will be remodeled into a logistics hub for my new client network. The same people you used to mock for just using computers. He looked up, lips trembling. Ethan, I was wrong. I just wanted what was best for you. I stared for a long beat. Then you chose the worst way to show it. I turned, closed the door behind me. Soft but final, like a gate slamming shut between two generations, two worlds. That night I heard Carl collapsed at the store. Exhaustion, not life-threatening. I didn't visit. I didn't need to see someone fall to feel like I'd won. Because I don't avenge with rage, I avenge with growth and silence. 1 year to the day since that birthday dinner. 1 year since Carl screamed across a table that I was the family disgrace. Now I sit in my new office, 3 times the size of the old one, looking out at the place he once ruled. Now just an empty shell. On my desk, the new logo design, bold, clean, unapologetic. Warren & Son Logistics. The designer asked, "You sure you want to keep that name?" I shook my head. I'm keeping it. But this time, Son isn't tradition. It's a statement. I'll hang it, not to honor him, but to remind myself every day that I was once called worthless, that I once left the table in shame, and that now I've built something lasting while he crumbled. Opening week came. The building gleamed. Former staff, those Carl once dismissed, were now my team. No one called me boss with fear in their voice. They called me Ethan, out of respect earned, not inherited. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, there were applause, smiles. But I only looked across the street, at the ruins of his store, shattered windows, faded sign. I heard Carl moved. No one knew where. Some relatives messaged, "Forgive him, he's still your father." I didn't reply, because forgiveness isn't about going back. It's about setting yourself free. That evening, Lena handed me a worn envelope. "You need to see this." Inside, a letter Carl never sent, no direct apology. But one line made me pause. "Ethan, I lived my whole life believing strength came from hands, not from the mind. But you proved me wrong, and I didn't know how to face that truth. So I shouted at it. I was wrong." I folded the letter, handed it back. "Keep it. I don't need more reasons to live my life." That night, I stood alone beneath the glowing sign, Warren & Son Logistics. I looked up. No hate, no sorrow, just peace. Because I reclaimed the one thing he tried to take, my right to define my own worth. Tomorrow, I begin a new chapter. No father's shadow behind me. No voice yelling, "You're a disgrace," just me. The man I've become, built from every brick they once threw at me. If this story hits something deep inside you, leave a comment. Share it with someone who needs to hear that you don't need approval to be worthy. And don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw, and powerful stories. Thanks for listening. Until next time.